All right. Sorry it's a little dark, but I'm traveling again. But nonetheless, we here one day after. So welcome back to the channel, everybody, and to another edition of Gonz Sports Talk, the show where we not only talk about Baltimore Ravens, but around the NFL. And today we're excited to talk about what happened last night in our Week 1 matchup in a thrilling 27-20 loss for the Ravens, but a great game nonetheless. In our very first post-game show of the 2024 season. So, instant thoughts, absolutely insane ending. What an effort by the Ravens in the fourth quarter after pretty sloppy all three for the first three, in my opinion. So it was nice to see them battle back. Almost tie it there at the end, but Lakely was out of bounds by an inch. His toe was stepped on the white line, and the refs called it incomplete, rightly so, because that is the rule. But wow, imagine if he could have caught that. We could be talking about a whole different storyline this evening. Because it looked like the Ravens were about to go for two. Harbaugh had the two fingers up, and who knows what happened. The way they were moving in the fourth quarter, they could have gotten it. They could have done anything there. They could have ran it. They could have had Lamar take it or anything. But that's okay. It's week one, and I'm here to say I was right. I knew this was going to be a loss. But, again, let's break it down. Dom, how you doing tonight?
Uh, you know, um, hanging in there. I'm kind of mad because, it's been a very, very nice couple of months. Our mental health was clear, it was conscious, it was just practicing. And now that we're here, now the Ravens will determine my mental health all the
Oh,
way up until February.
nice.
And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was very upset last night.
Very
I I
upset.
I was because I really thought we had it. I thought like we had it. It like obviously from our point of view, it looked in, but you know what happened
Man,
happened. I suppose.
so crazy because if they had to call that on the field, there's no way they would have overturned it.
No way. Yeah, like
Only way
if they.
to look at it is that the NBC it camera was insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
If only like if they would have just lined up and just went for two before they could even review it. I mean,
I wish you could do that, but it doesn't work like the challenge. It's all,
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Um, a non-challengeable play or a non-reviewable play, then they could have done that. But the fact that all scoring plays are reviewed now, they
yeah.
had
That
to have it.
last 2 minutes, yeah. Which I mean, I guess is fair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, like you said, very sloppy in that for those first three quarters. I mean, I know we talked about in the last episode there's going to be some growing pains, offensively, defensively. Justin Tucker missed a field
Oh,
goal.
oh yeah,
Um,
that was.
yeah, it was just one of those games. I don't. Uh, we're gonna get into the more specifics. But yeah, I mean, I'm proud of them for how they fought. They didn't lapse when they went down double digits. They kept fighting, and they were just one toe away from trying to go for a win. But yeah, I mean, heck of an effort. But we just can't beat this freaking team. I don't know what it is.
Nope.
Can't beat this
And
team.
I just thought it was too much to overcome. There were too many moving parts, too many uncertainties. Offensive line, defensive coordinator, and there were miscues on both sides of the ball. I mean, we had a ton of whiffed blocks. They were shifting and turning the O-line all night long, bringing in people, taking them out. I mean, McCarry started the game on the first drive. They went down and got a touchdown. That was the nicest part of the first half. And then they took him out. Rosengarten inserted at right tackle. First play, instant shed, sack fumble from Chris Jones, and another Lamar turnover against this Chiefs D. So that was annoying. That was very annoying because it's like, why did you just put him in? I mean, I get you want to do rotated pieces, but you just throw them in there raw. And after we just scored a tutty, I don't know about that. I would have waited a little bit longer, but that's fine. It's fine. They want to keep everybody fresh because McCarry is a very valuable piece. Maybe that's why they just took him out. But yeah, offensive line shaky as I predicted. I'm not surprised how this game turned out. I'm not very concerned because, they battled, they fought. So imagine when we get these screws tightened. Imagine when this team gets to play a lot of games together. Imagine when this O-line can gel together. I feel like we have a pretty good shot. Okay? For the first game, I'm not too mad about it. I'm really not. So this is probably one of the happiest days ever after a Ravens loss because of the potential that this squad showed yesterday.
Yeah,
Offensive
I think for the
line wise.
yeah, I think. Oh, and AG, what's going on, dog? Been a minute. As far as getting to that Likely performance, yeah, Likely
Can you
did
still
play a
see
heck of a game last
me
night.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the light, you're getting a little bit of light in there.
Okay.
But yeah, man, the offensive line. I mean, Chris Jones in that first half was just eating blocks. He almost looked unblockable. Like if it was any other quarterback other than Lamar back there, Lord knows how many sacks he would have
Right.
had. It probably would have been ridiculous, the amount of sacks he would have had. But luckily, Lamar's elusive enough to get out of there in those situations. I'll give you the kudos on the offensive line. They definitely were shaky for pretty much a good part of that game. Lamar pretty much was. I mean, it was like there was moments where it looked solid. I feel like as the game went on, they started to build a little bit. They started to look more solid. I guess I think it's because like the Chiefs' defensive line was kind of wearing down a little bit, especially because we had to do a lot of hurry up offense because we only had like 2 freaking timeouts for pretty much majority of that. I mean, we had 1 timeout for majority of that second
Yeah.
half, which I still don't really get that, but uh, yeah, so pretty much I feel like they were getting worn down with that hurry up offense, and we were just kind of we were able to block better because of that. But yeah, man, this offensive line, we definitely got to work something because right now it didn't look great, especially for the defensive lines we got to face this year. Like, mind you, we just got finished facing Chris Jones. Now, next week, we got to go against Max Crosby. So it doesn't really get any easier for the defensive lines we have to face. I think that as far as each offensive lineman goes, I think Linderbaum played really good. Stanley, I think he still played solid. I really don't like those back calls he got. I mean, I just think there has to be something with this officiating. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I don't really
Kansas
like all
City.
those calls he got. Yeah, it just didn't make any sense because you're gonna call him that many times for illegal formation, but Jawan Taylor can jump the snap multiple
And
times
they don't call false
and
start.
they don't
Yep.
call it. They only called him like once, maybe
I
twice.
mean, this is an
But you feel like you could,
issue every Chiefs
I
game, it seems like. I
mean,
mean,
it just,
it's
and I
getting
feel like,
ridiculous.
and he was one of the most penalized linemen last year, but yet his job security is just obviously great because they're still starting him. So obviously they feel like they can just get away with it because he's still starting, which is ridiculous. So I mean, like the Stanley calls, and like he addressed it in the post game, talking about like I don't like, dude, the way we were practicing it with the practice refs, it didn't seem like it in the real game. Like it was being called completely differently. Like I don't like that. And then that weak holding call on Linderbaum
Oh, that was
with
awful.
Chris Jones, that was a weak call,
And
man.
they were
That was a
doing that all
super
night
weak
long.
call.
They showed, speaking of holding, they were showing highlights of that little Chiefs rookie left tackle. That dude was arm hooking away almost like every highlight. And they called it. They didn't call it. They didn't call running plays, handoffs to Pacheco. They were not. It was ridiculous. I
Yeah.
was. Oh my god, I was twisted on that.
It just didn't make any like I understand a penalty is warranted. Trust me, 100%. But at the same time, if you're gonna call those penalties, call it for both teams. Why are we the only one getting penalized when the Chiefs are executing those same penalties? It didn't make sense to me. Like I watched the game from top to bottom, start to finish, and I literally saw it. It was ridiculous. It was a one-sided officiating game. And I understand, again, I'm not trying to blame refs. Obviously, we are to blame for that loss. We didn't play well. That's 100% true. But at the same time, it's like, dude, that game was not called down the middle. It wasn't. And we just have to call a spade a spade. It's like we have to battle, and the Ravens should know this. So I feel as though, like, when they play, and remember what we talked about last episode, the mental game. I feel as though they were letting their frustrations win in their head. Like that late hit to Mahomes that Roquan did, or that also that late hit to Mahomes that Marcus Williams did. You know what I mean? Like it's just plays like that where it's just like I feel like though they were getting frustrated. And honestly, I can understand their frustration, but it's just one of those things like I don't know what it is with this team, but it seems as though every single time we just let our heads they just mess up with our heads, man.
When
And
we
we just
play
can't
this
we
team.
don't focus.
When we
Yes,
play
every
this team.
single time we play this team, we just don't focus. Like our
I feel
heads
like we're
are always
close,
in it.
though.
We
I
are.
honestly
I
feel like we're
agree.
really close to beating them.
We are.
That we had
They,
them. We
they
really
didn't
did.
play that well last night. If you want to
No.
keep it straight, like it wasn't a beautiful game. Roquan had a great pick, by the way, which was obviously like this top tier. But honestly, they didn't play that good last night, in my humble opinion. Like the fact that despite all of our shortcomings, despite of our lack of offense for majority of that game, despite that our defense was kind of getting gashed, but you know they try to come with stops when they did. It's like we were still in that game. It was literally we were right there, and the fact that Lamar was able to try with one timeout. I don't think we had timeouts in that last possession. We were trying to tie it, or try to go for two, and you know it's like we were right there. We were one like inch of a toe away from going for two for trying to get the win. Like I don't think we're too far off from beating this team. Like
But
when a
we
reporter
get
asked like,
behind. We start turning the ball over, and then that's when we have to play from behind. And that just seems to always happen against that team. Always. Now, let's talk about the running game real quick. Not a lot of holes. I mean, it was pretty much a struggle for the running backs. I know Henry had a couple nice carries. I think he had a couple 6 or 7 yard runs. He had a touchdown on the first drive. That was awesome. I think that will improve. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, you didn't use Derrick Henry." We were losing by a lot, and it wasn't like the AFC Championship game, because the AFC Championship game we were stopping the Chiefs' offense, and it was kind of just going tit for tat in that second half after they scored 17 in the first. This game, there was way more urgency because you knew we weren't stopping them that well. I mean, at one point in the third quarter, they were wide open. They were just moving up and down. They missed on a little easy potential touchdown on a wheel route to Samaje Perine that was barely overthrown on an all-out blitz. Imagine if they complete that. It's a tutty. It's 27-10. The game's over. So the urgency was there. And I also think that was another factor why they weren't able to run the ball that much with Henry. So I'm not concerned about that, because that was a hot take this morning by a lot of people. Like, you didn't use Derrick Henry. He only ran 16 times. He needs 30 carries. Based on the game, it was appropriate to keep throwing the ball. And Lamar was doing a lot with himself with the running game. I mean, obviously he had 100-some yards rushing. So I don't think we should be alarmed that they didn't hand the ball off that much, because of just how the game was going and because they were down 10 for a lot of that half.
yeah,
So what do you think? Should we be concerned about that, or
I
what do you
don't
think?
think we should be ultimately concerned. I know
No.
Henry like just looking at his face, I know Henry wanted to be out there. Part of me last night emotionally was like, why the heck is Henry not getting the ball anymore? But after a while, I kind of understood why. But I mean, I just think we have to really. The offensive line was not blocking well for him. Like, especially on that right side of the line, like it was just like they were getting ate up as far as blocking was concerned, and we could not get a good hole for him to like be able to get his runs that he's used to getting.
Right.
Um, and as far as like going back to your point about Lamar's rushing yards, like I'm glad he got them, but he shouldn't have to do that. I really think that we're getting to this point right now where we have to figure out like why does Lamar have to be able to Superman us almost every game.
Let me
I
tell
mean,
you this. Let me break that down.
okay. Well,
Go
before
ahead,
you say
finish.
it, I just
Or
want to
if
say,
you want,
yeah,
I thought you were done. Sorry,
no,
finish your point. Finish your point.
yeah, it's because it's just getting to the point. Like I feel as though we don't know how to utilize our receivers to the best of our ability right now. I mean, you got Zay Flowers like running. I barely saw any passes for Zay Flowers beyond the line of scrimmage. Like, and it's just like we're using him in jet. Like, obviously, the jet touch passes, they're fine. The jet sweeps, the jet passes. He's our quickest player next to Justice Hill. So if you're
Yep.
gonna use him in that, I understand completely. But when it comes to these screens and like constantly calling these screens, like, dude, I'm like, bro, we saw what he could do with the deep ball last year. We're not going to try that. Were they covering it that well? I couldn't see it. But, I mean, I just want to know what's up with that. And then we look at Bateman. Like, first of all, Bateman had a spectacular catch, to like a game-saving catch, basically, in that fourth quarter to get us within range for that scenario that happened last night. So shout out to him. But, like, we're still not seeing like that Bateman Lamar connection yet. And I guess this wasn't the best game to do it because it was just like a stiff Chiefs defense, but we're still not seeing that yet. Like we don't. And then Devontae Walker was inactive. Like, you good?
I'm good. I just keep getting phone calls.
So,
sorry.
No, you're good. Devontae Walker was inactive last night. Aguilar missing blocks. I think Lamar was talking to him about missing a block last night. I don't think like it was a screen or something. Like I just don't think we're like knowing how to utilize our guys to the best of their ability. Like I just like it. It just didn't seem right last night offensively. Yeah. Just, like, and I'm glad Lamar is able to. The one thing I did catch from last night is that when Lamar saw an opening, he took off. There was no hesitation. He just took off when he saw it. And that's what we talked about last episode, is the fact that he needs to utilize his running ability when there's nothing open. And boy, did he last night. But it's just the fact that, like, things were constantly not open. I don't know if that's
right.
us
and that,
not scheming them right, or if it's like them not getting separation. Like, I know they could get separation. We've seen them get separation.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I have zero issue on how Lamar played yesterday.
Me neither.
Zero.
I
you know why?
No issue with it either. I'm just saying you shouldn't have to.
To go against what you said, people weren't open. They took shots to Flowers deep. They had him down the sideline. Guy was on him like glue. I know. Do you remember that play? Nothing was open deep. They took a shot to Likely down the middle. Lamar kind of fluttered the ball and almost picked off. The way they were playing defense was not the best way to attack. So what did Lamar do? He played like he should have played in the playoff game. If he would have played like tonight or last night in January, we would have won that game. We would have won the game. We would have won the game. We would have won the game. That's all I got to say. He was taken off because nothing was open, and he knew that the Chiefs were overplaying for the pass, covering the receivers downfield, and he had lots of room to run. That is what he should have done in the playoffs. You turn in that performance, he had 490-some yards. Or I don't know if it was that much, but
I think it was
400.
I think it was like 395, if I'm not mistaken.
Close to damn near 400 yards. That is plenty to win in that playoff game when the Chiefs were held to 17. We would have got at least 20. So I have zero issue about how they played. I know things weren't in time. And I also think that you need to consider, like we talked about, the offensive line. We don't have – can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Good. There wasn't time to sit back there and throw the ball deep. I mean, he was on the move the whole night. People are getting back there. Karlaftis was getting back there. Chanel was getting back there. And, of course, Chris Jones, too. There wasn't time for those deep passing plays. So what did he do? They utilized the play action, got Likely over the middle a lot. And then Lamar was off and running. He wasn't sitting in that pocket, not last night. And another reason, we won't need to see this every week. I disagree with the fact that he's played Superman every game, because that was characteristic to what Roman used to do. Roman made him do Superman stuff every play. Roman would put two wide receivers on the field and say, go do whatever. Okay? This is not the same. Lamar purposely played Superman yesterday because he knew he had to, because it's Kansas City. And he really wanted that game. He's going to lay his body on the line, trying to run defenders over, sliding down. It was ridiculous. He wanted that game bad. You could tell. So I don't expect to see that I don't expect to see that at all next week. Well, you can't hear me?
No, I'm saying I also wanted that
Oh,
game bad.
yeah. Sorry. I don't expect to see that next week. I expect them to get Henry going next week, or try a lot more to get Henry going. Okay? So you don't need to be Superman every game. You need to be Superman in the big games, which is AKA Kansas City.
I mean, he was.
He
He
should
was
have been
last night.
Superman. It just is so frustrating because if you look at the two performances, this one versus January, if I had my eyes closed and I picked between the two of them, which one is the playoff performance? I would have picked week one because I thought he was doing everything. He was playing like the season was on the line. That wasn't happening in January, so it was just frustrating to see that. But that's because he knew he had the game. He had to win this game, and he knew the O-line wasn't helping him. So that's my reasoning for not waiting in the pocket, utilizing all those routes, because they couldn't. They just couldn't. They're
Yeah,
not in sync
it's just,
yet. On the timing was not there because the O-line is not ready.
and that's well. Oh,
Yeah,
AG. I hope TJ doesn't eat on this offensive line,
bro.
but
AG, we don't see you for 2 months. That's not good for you. By
but
the
either way,
time we play
I
Pittsburgh, we're gonna know where our teams stand. So, good luck.
but I mean, yeah, I get your point. It's just the fact that I I just hate the fact because he doesn't want to. I'm not saying he doesn't want to run, but we know he wants to be a passer. That's what he is. That's what he can do it. We've seen him do it multiple times. It's just the fact that I feel as though this is like a look in the mirror for Monken as well. Like we have to look at our team offensively and think about why the heck we cannot get past this team. We can run through every other team. I understand that Steve Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator. Don't get it twisted. I know his resume speaks for itself. But at the end of the day, we can steamroll through every other good team or through every other great defense, but this one. Like, I really think this is like a look in the mirror moment and like, okay, what do we need to do to like actually get this win? Because it's ridiculous. Like last year, like we ran through the 49ers who had an elite defense. We beat a Browns team who has an elite defense. Like we played some elite defenses over the past couple of years with Lamar, and we were able to have success, great success against those teams. What is it about this Steve Spagnuolo defense that is stopping us so well? Like I feel like that's the question. That's the thing we need to look at because
Ourselves.
it's crazy. I mean, yeah, that part too. But like, it's just, man, it's like I was just looking at the game last night in frustration because it just seems like it seems like when we try to get it going, it just wasn't going. Like we couldn't execute at all. Like, and shout out to Lamar and shout out to Likely and all the guys for trying to make plays. I know Derrick Henry's going to get better. This is just the first week, but man,
I'm still here,
it's like
just saving my connection.
um and yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you do have to score every drive with Mahomes. Like, because if you don't get Mahomes off the field without a stop, it gets ridiculous. So for me, it's just like, dude, we have to, if we can't score at all, then we have issues. And I just hope that going forward, if we see them again, because let's be real, if we're going to get to the bowl, we got to see them again. It's like we have to figure out how to get past this Chiefs defense because it's getting ridiculous. And I don't know if his connection is still. I think he's still
I'm here. I'm
connecting.
just saving my connection.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got you. But yeah, it's just like it's just this. It's wherever we face this team, man. It's like we get in our own heads, and it's like they live rent free in them, and it's like it just gets frustrating because I know we can beat them. We can beat them. Like, I know we can. It's just the fact that we keep getting in our own way, and it gets bad. Like, I don't know. Maybe we just need we need a look in the mirror moment and just be like, listen, man, shape up. Because we're facing against the defending Super Bowl champions, and we have to stop them from three-peating. Because I swear to goodness, if they do three-peat, the Mahomes glazing will never end. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it because he's a great quarterback, one of the best I've ever seen, quite literally, besides Lamar. But if they three-peat, I swear to goodness, I might turn off my phone because I don't even want to hear. I don't even want to hear it. And yes, I'm a hater. F y'all. I'm hating right now. But either way, at the end of the day, for real, like I'm a hater. I get it. I can hate all I want. But if they get even the chance to go for a three-peat, I might cry. Like I might get on live and I will literally cry on the Dom and Gonz Sports Talk page. Like I'll do it and I'll record it and I'll post it because it's getting ridiculous. Can we please stop this team?
Can we please beat them in January?
Please.
I think we can.
See, and what did we say earlier in the last episode? If we lose, I'm okay with losing week 1. If we can beat them in January, I don't even care about anything else. Week 1 is week 1. Nobody was worried about the Chiefs when they lost to the Lions week 1. I'm not worried about it after this loss. It was heartbreaking. Trust me, I literally was watching the game. I was at a sports bar last night watching the game. Everybody was hyped until that moment. I'm not. Is there worry or concern? No, it's week 1. Like, obviously, everyone's going to have growing pains at week 1. But what I will say is that if we can beat them in January, if this loss is just for the fact that we're going to beat them in January, I'm all for it. I'm with it. Bring it. I told you I would sacrifice a week 1 loss if that means we're going to beat these guys in the playoffs to get to the bowl. I'm completely okay with that.
Definitely. Let's talk about defense, though. We've kind of went on a little bit of a rant. Let's bring it back to the defense. Bad start, similar to what happened in the playoffs. I mean, we go down the field, we're feeling great, and then we just let them go right down the field, and they give up a touchdown. I'm losing a little bit of connection. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You were going in and out, but I think it's clear now.
I'm in the woods. They let them walk right down the field, tie the game. Unacceptable. Just terrible. I was so angry. And that's not how you start a game. But more importantly, overall, a very concerning trend about the defense. And, they made their plays. We had a couple nice knockouts in the pass defense, like Ardarius Washington, very nice breakup at the goal line. Marcus Williams had one on Smith-Schuster. Trenton Simpson knocked down a crucial third down pass in the fourth quarter as well. But something we need to fix ASAP is the run defense. The run defense was atrocious. Oh, my gosh. They were giving up 5 yards a carry, literally. I'm not even like exaggerating. It literally was 5 yards a carry. The Chiefs were getting 2nd and 5 every single time. I mean, that is bad. We need to fix that ASAP. I don't know what's wrong with the run D. We have all the same linemen as last year. I don't know if that's a scheme thing or if it's, just people not playing up to par. But that was bad. I mean, Pacheco was running very well on us. And it wasn't even because he was doing much. The blocking was just amazing. So we need people to get off their blocks and stop the run without having us descend or get into formations with 6 down linemen, right? So we need to get a little bit better in that department. But I will take the defense I will give it a C minus. I mean, maybe a D plus. But they got a crucial stop in the fourth quarter, but it was pretty messy overall. They were going through it in the third quarter as well. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, if they catch that running back pass out of the backfield, 27-10. So, I don't know.
Can you still hear me?
Hello?
You still hear me? Hello?
I hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I think so. It's getting a little worse on your end, but I think you're good now.
It's getting worse?
Yeah, it was like a really bad cutout, but I think you're good now.
Oh. I was just going to say 32 years old, Zachary Orr, not a terrible job. But give him time. I knew it was going to be growing pains, just like the O-line. I literally said that. And what did we do? We lost by 1 possession. So It's all right. We'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Yeah, and it's definitely not time to press the panic button yet on Zach Orr. I mean, it's his first time running the full defense with the starters. A couple of things to note. I feel like the pressure was decent. I just don't like how we didn't set the edge as well as I wanted us to. I feel like Mahomes was able to get out way too easily and avoid the sack. Like we didn't set the edge well. I didn't like that. I'm not gonna lie. Having Malik Harrison, he wasn't at like I watched the game. It wasn't really like he missed a really bad tackle. And it's just I think he definitely needs some improvement. If we do play him for next game, I think we probably will. So I would like to see him step up a little bit more. I know he'll step up, but I definitely would like to see that next game. I feel like Trenton Simpson played well. Had a really good bat down, I think, of one of Mahomes' passes. I think that was the pass where he caught his own pass. Don't know how he didn't pick that, and we couldn't out jump Mahomes, but I digress. Let's see what else. Secondary wise, the communication was not great.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we were getting sliced and diced over the middle constantly. Like if it wasn't Kelsey, it was Rashee Rice just getting over the middle and just being wide open. Like I don't understand what was wrong. And then that crazy lapse in coverage. I don't know what was supposed. I don't know if there's supposed to be a safety over top behind Marlowe when he was on Worthy, but the fact that Worthy was just butt naked open. And he freaking caught that other. By the way, Xavier Worthy's on my fantasy team, unfortunately. So I mean, I guess he did good for me. But at the end of the day, but still, dude, that lapse in coverage, the communication just was not good in the secondary at all. At least for the beginning part of that game, I would definitely agree with the C- to D+. I think this defense definitely isn't looking like that defense that we had last year. At least from this first game. But again, we're not going to press the panic button. This is just the first game. It's week 1. Zach Orr still has time to get it together. We have 17 weeks left of this season, and we have plenty of time to figure each other out and how's it going and figure out how it's going. What I did like to see though, Ojabo had a sack. Did like that. So shout out to Ojabo. Hopefully he can, build momentum each game, just get better, just work in game time. I like seeing him getting aggressive out there. I feel as though Beaks, I'd like to see him get back to form. I feel like he wasn't the pressure. Again, the pressure wasn't bad last night. We had 2 or 3 sacks, I think, last night. But I just, like I said, I felt like Mahomes was still getting out way too easily, and that could have been like you said earlier, with the call. We could have been getting hooked, and it's not really getting called. But again, it's the Chiefs, so nobody really cares about us at this point. But yeah, it wasn't great execution defensively, and I think just from watching, I think we definitely need to look how can we. And then Kyle Van Noy going down didn't help the cause either. So that I know he's not. I think we talked about earlier. Was it a broken eye orbital thing?
Yeah, it was a broken, whatever this bone is, where
a socket, an eye socket, or something like that. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. Lord knows how much time he's going to have to miss. Which sucks because we definitely need that veteran presence.
Right, I agree. There's 2 more things I wanted to address. Ravens pass rush. You brought that up. Finish the play. There were a couple plays where we had him, and then he shakes and bakes, and we miss. There was one play in particular that I lost my mind on. Mahomes stand in the pocket, nothing's open. We have Broderick Washington coming from the inside left, and we have Odafe Owe who's got contain on the right. Somehow Mahomes escapes and dodges both Owe. How do you lose contain right there? How do you not bring him down? And then, of course, he gets outside the pocket and fires it down the field, 20-yard pass to Kelsey, and the cameras are on Taylor Swift screaming like a stupid schoolgirl. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You do all the work and just tackle him, and they miss. Tackling was not very good yesterday. That's something that was a strong suit last year, was not good yesterday, especially in the pass rush department. You've got to bring these guys down. You don't go back to that old stuff you did in 21 and 22 where you were just missing all the sacks. No. We don't. Let's not go down that path again. Finish the play, wrap them up. I'm looking at you, Owe, specifically, and get them down, get them on the ground. So yeah, shout out to Ojabo for actually finishing a play. We need to see more of that. We need to see an improvement on that side of the ball. And yeah, the defensive line was not getting much push. They just weren't. The Chiefs won on the trenches, both sides of the ball, and no surprise, that's why they came out victorious. So you need to make those plays. And then secondary, yes, you brought up that miscommunication, very bad, and you just kind of wonder, that was the Chiefs' only touchdown in the fourth quarter. If that doesn't happen, who knows what happens? Who knows what happened? I mean,
yeah, I don't know what exactly was supposed to happen. I don't know. Was it supposed to be a safety?
Marlon thought that he had it looked like Marlon thought it was going to be a Tampa 2, cover 2 like defense where he had a safety help over the top. So you could see he had his shoulders to the sideline, back face to the sideline like he was in a flat and expecting a safety help. And just nobody there, nobody home, and gone, Xavier Worthy. And another thing, they are just absolutely glazing this guy, Xavier Worthy. I mean, yeah, he's fast, but can we hold off on the real deal type of stuff yet? Because he had 2 touchdowns. I don't remember him catching many other passes. I really don't remember. Maybe a crossing route, a drag route. The only 2 plays I really remember was when he took an end around to the house and he caught a busted coverage play. That's all I remember. Maybe I'm just being salty.
I think he finished the game with, and again, I could be wrong. I think he finished with 68 yards. So I think it was like a couple of catches, 68 yards.
Going on that one play. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a salty Ravens fan, but I don't think he's all that until he shows more. I mean, I could have caught that pass. I literally could. There was nobody around. I mean, your grandma could have caught it. Your great-grandma caught it.
Kind of wish you would have dropped that just for the melodramatic.
Oh, that would have
been hilarious. That would have been hilarious if you would have dropped it.
Just sure, we got some screws to tighten. Overall, defensively, offensively, not surprised. You just got to get yourself going a little bit. That's all. And we will. I feel like we will. We just got to stay healthy. That's the key.
I agree.
Healthy, and gel together, and we'll be all right. We'll be fine.
I agree. I don't think we worry just yet after a week 1 loss. I mean, again,
bad as they played, they lost by 7.
Right, exactly. And I think that's a big takeaway from this. It's the fact that they were literally still in the game, despite all of the shortcomings and the mistakes and the mishaps and all that stuff. We were still in that game. So that just goes to show you, I mean, like, if we're clicking, if we can click on all cylinders, like I know we can beat this team. And I know that's like, you can say that about any team, but not many teams have stepped up to the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Especially in the way we did it. I mean, their division is one thing, but like, I feel like if we're clicking, we can beat them. I mean, we have beaten them. Our record isn't great against them, but we can beat them. And I think that, you know, like I said earlier, we don't press the panic button just yet, but we wait till January. And if we make it to that point and we see them again, we got to pray. Because it's just that simple. We have to pray. We have to pray that we can just get like the record and all that out of our head and just try to go out there and get a win. Because we know if we want to get to the bowl, if we want to win the AFC, we have to go through them. There is no other team to get through besides them. Like, obviously, there's big competition in the AFC. The AFC is the toughest conference. Our division is the toughest division in football. I get that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to winning the AFC, we have to get through the Chiefs. And it's going to start there. If we can't do that, then it's done. But I think we can do it. I really think we can beat this team. Obviously, we came up short last night. It was heartbreaking, but we can do it. Likely played his ass off. Lamar played his ass off. The team tried their best. Defense tried to keep us in it. They did. They got the stop. We tried to get down the field. I mean, it was an effort all around. Bateman, great catch. Zay did what he could. I mean, but at the end of the day, we just have to dust this one off and get ready for next week. That's all we can really do.
Fine, yeah. I feel confident. I mean, it's only up from here. We'll be fine. 0-1 does not define your
Right,
season.
we're not out of the playoffs just yet.
Oh, look, Kansas City looks. They lost. Oh, they were 0-1 last year, an abysmal loss with like 25 drops. I mean, everybody was hitting the panic button on them. I mean, shoot, you just never know what happens until you make it to the dance. So we got plenty of time to clean this up. I think we're going to be fine. Home openers on Sunday against the Raiders. I'm going to be there. It's going to be awesome. We're going to win. Now, if we don't win that, I will be a little concerned. But we're not going to. I think we're going to win that one. And, yeah. But honestly, wrapping up for tonight's show, couldn't ask for a better game as a fan. That was a fun ending. Imagine if we did score that. It was crazy. I mean, the fact that it even got that far, just as a fan's point of view, was exciting because we were pinned all the way at the 12-yard line. So nice job by the Ravens to drive all the way down the field and get them in position to tie the game. So nice. It's all right. We got things to work on. We're going to work on them. Got a nice week of practice. Got an extra week of practice because we played on Thursday. So that could give us a little bit of a rest advantage. So I'm down to see what we got. Let's see what we got in these Raiders team. Harbaugh was very confident in the fact, he's already looking on the next week. I like hearing that. I like when they're already locked in about next week's opponent, already thinking down the road. So that's good. That's what you want to see. One more thing before we wrap up. Lamar missing Zay Flowers wide open in the end zone. That was terrible. And then his excuse was, I was trying to throw to Bateman. I don't know about that one. I mean, what route was Bateman even? I saw the play, and Bateman was like on a slant and go type of thing, but we were on the 10-yard line. So I don't know what he was thinking or what play that was, but that wasn't a very good play call if he's on a slant and go to the top of the end zone with a crosser coming across the middle. I mean, I don't know. If you're just own up and say you missed the throw. If you missed it, just say you did. I don't know. That just looked like a weird sequence of events.
I mean, I don't think he has a reason to lie. He's had worse plays than that, though.
I mean, did you watch the play?
Real, I did watch the play. I saw the play.
What the hell kind of route was Bateman on?
I don't know, man. I don't know what we called in that red zone.
And go from the 10-yard line.
Oh, Jesus.
But
it was bad. But man,
it's fine.
But man, that likely play when he was, I thought he would have scored. Oh my gosh, that was one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. Like, but
I'm so glad
what could have been.
Took a bad hit because Lamar overthrew him a little bit on another potential touchdown. I mean, it's all right. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm still happy. But yeah, we got to hit on those next time, and we will. We should.
We will.
We do need to see a little bit of a comeback from this team. This team doesn't come through in clutch moments at times. I mean, they do. Let me hold my tongue before I say that. They did that against the Rams. They did score at the end. There was a couple other games where they scored too and got that last stop. But overall, we want to make sure we 100% win in these situations in the future because I'd rather win them all than only 10% of them. So I know they can do it. They showed it to us. Let's just execute in crunch time next time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think they can do it too. I just think, again, it's a wait-and-see moment. It's only week one. We wait to see how they mesh throughout the season, and hopefully that can lead to another successful season like we had last year, and we get back to January. But for now, I said on the Raiders, which is doing home opener next Sunday.
So I'll be there. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go up and get on out of here. Thanks again for tuning in. Enjoyed talking about that thrilling game last night. Excited to see. Sorry, my Waze was talking to me, threw me off. I thought Dom was saying something. But yeah, thanks again. Thrilling game, loved it. Fans, I'm sure all loved it. Social media was going crazy. Ravens lose by an inch was the headline. But it's all good. I enjoyed watching my boys for the first time this season. I hate that I had to stay up till midnight though for a loss, then go to work the next day. But it's all good. NFL season's just kicking off, guys. We've got a slew of games. We got a game going on right now. Eagles are playing the Packers in Brazil. We've got a slew of games on Sunday. Rest of our AFC North foes play. Bengals taking on the Patriots without potentially T. Higgins. without potentially.
And Jamar
Yeah.
Chase.
And then the Steelers taking on Kirk Cousins and those Falcons, those Dirty Birds. So we'll see if the Dirty Birds can pull off that upset. Go Kirk. So we'll be watching. Hopefully you guys are excited to watch your team too. Thanks again for tuning in, watching us. Comment down below. Ask us any questions. Did Lamar lie about the press conference? I don't know. Anything. Just let us know what you think, what your thoughts are. Are you excited to watch your team? Who does your team play this weekend? It doesn't matter. But anyway, thanks again. Leave a like and a subscription if you enjoyed and watching this on YouTube. We're going to hope and get on out of here. This is Dom and Gonz signing out. And even though we lost, let's go Ravens. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the football games this weekend. We'll see you next week for pregame.